Warning, the following podcast may occasionally contain strong language and material that is not suitable for all ages. If you are easily offended, it is highly advised that you turn back now. However, if you're a degenerate, welcome, brethren. You've found your home.
Welcome to the Crime Diner. We're over here in Jersey serving up stories of true crime, cults, mysteries, and general creepiness. We do this within a Dinner with Friends theme. I'm Nydia.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Cindy.
Last week on the Crime Diner, we shared the story of Molly McLaren and Joshua Stimson. It was an English tale of Tinder dating, obsessive love languages, and a murder in plain sight. So check it out.
Yeah, it was very upsetting.
It was upsetting.
Yeah.
It really was.
Hated it.
And it was recent enough for me to apologize.
Yeah, it was upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything Tinder related is going to be like recent where it feels a little raw, you know?
Yeah.
Great job. Way to pick them.
All right. Well, listen, if you don't appreciate our little banter, because it's about to be on with the banter, we're going to eat. We're going to talk about what we ate. We're going to talk about things that happened. And then we're going to get to the story.
That's right.
But if you are impatient, then I suggest you go to our timestamps.
That's right.
They're in our show notes. And skip all of this delightful banter that we enjoy every week.
If you're doing that, if you're using the timestamp, there's something wrong with you. You should seek professional help. Yeah, exactly. I feel bad for you.
Well, they're missing out.
They're missing out.
Are they, though?
Feels like a you problem.
Maybe we can entice them to stay.
Maybe. Tonight we have a mystery.
Okay.
In 1928, the third richest man in the world disappeared from his private airplane mid-flight. To this day, no one knows what happened to him.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Mid-flight?
Mid-flight. Over the English Channel. Bye-bye.
A la Amelia Earhart.
More mysterious than that.
I would say that's more mysterious.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay. But first, the food.
Let's do it.
Let us pray. Bless us, O patrons, for these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy donations through Patreon every month under the power of the V podcast.
Cult.
This is unacceptable.
This better not be fucking... I need food, bitch.
This is...
What is it that you have?
This is unacceptable.
What is it that you have?
Fucking protein blend nuts. I don't want this shit.
I already had
pretzels.
I already had a shot of tequila, and I'm planning on having an airplane rum and coke, apparently, so I'm going to need more than peanuts, I hope.
Were you expecting more? I mean, normally planes don't have more than that.
They used to,
Bitch,
goddammit.
I had a whole
This is
ass meal,
an international
breakfast
flight.
and dinner, that's right.
She did not tell me it was an international flight. She told me
She can't be
airplane
serious.
food. You got your pretzels, too. It'll soak up the alcohol.
I know you lying. You better be fucking lying. You better be fucking lying, bitch.
I'm gonna crack my knuckles.
I'm gonna take another shot of this right here, but I do like the cup though. This is the airplane
Yeah,
cup
that's
with the napkin.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm looking for the stamp that says Crime Diner Air. Also, I hate spiced rum. That's her favorite.
Do you want the real food?
Yes, please. Because
Okay,
I'm
wait a minute.
starving. I would have went
Wait
to
a minute.
McDonald's.
Is it as disappointing as this and airplane food usually is?
Yeah,
Is this disappointing?
Hell yeah.
yeah, I hate nuts.
Okay, then I
This
would
bitch
say...
out here fucking around too much.
Those
play
have,
too
those
much.
Those have
Cranberries.
banana
Banana
chips.
Alright.
I made sure you got the banana ones.
Alright,
I mean,
okay.
see.
Alright.
Dried fruit. You talked about dried fruit.
I love
in an
dried fruit.
episode.
She gave me pepitas. I love pepitas.
Okay.
All right. I'm
All
not
right.
as mad.
All right.
There you go.
You asshole.
I was really fucking pissed.
I was like, shit, I'm hungry, actually. Wait, hold on.
Oh my god, this is airplane food.
Okay, it's in a little container, and it has little plastic forks and fork and knife.
I love this.
Is it chicken parm?
It's not chicken parm.
It's not chicken
It's
parm.
meatloaf.
It's not meatloaf.
Oh, it's lasagna.
It's lasagna.
Oh, it's
airplane
lasagna and a little what is this? The
packaged-
Caesar salad.
Prepackaged Caesar salad on the side.
Oh, with the little cheese on the side. Oh, we
Oh
have
my
Texas
God.
toast.
Oh wow.
Oh, we're about to get it in.
Oh yeah.
So the idea came from an Instagrammer who actually used to fly, and what he did for quarantine, he would recreate some of his airplane meals.
Yeah.
Why?
He also, his first long haul flight after COVID was lasagna.
Okay. Where was he
And-
going? Italy?
I want to say Germany.
They usually theme it for where they're heading, don't they?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But it's, if you want to look it up, it's Fly So Plain. I think that's what it was.
Funny.
Yes.
Hey. Can I dig in?
Let's do it.
All right.
How was your airplane food?
At 30,000 feet, it hit the spot.
A meal fit for the skies?
Fit for the skies. I had a Caesar salad with light on the dressing.
I was heavy on the dressing.
You were? Okay. I had light on the dressing. I had some nuts.
These nuts?
These nuts, yes. I had some spice rum and Coke, which I've never had that before. I am here for it.
Yeah.
In other words, Nydia had Captain and Coke.
She had Captain and Coke. I had a little Tito's and Coke.
Okay.
I love Tito's. I do like Tito's.
Okay.
I liked dinner.
I enjoyed that. That was a meaty lasagna.
My little trail mix little pack I had with it, which I do love. I love a banana chip. I'm here for dried fruit.
We were heated with Cindy.
I was a little upset about that.
She presented us with pretzels and nuts.
I just flash forwarded to you being totally hammered with no food in your stomach.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be a nightmare. I'm like, we should get pizza or something.
Yeah. So that was not a nice thing to do to us.
Not a very funny joke.
Yeah, this is not going to cut it.
No,
it's not going
ma'am.
to cut through the alcohol.
No, it's not.
No,
We
no.
need some sustenance in there.
Yes.
And sustenance was provided.
Let me just say that mixed drinks taste better in these little plastic
Yes.
airplane cups.
I do hate when they give you your drink on the airplane and it's so tiny. You I don't know if airplanes make you drier or something, but you're and then it's gone in 2 sips and you're like, what the fuck? Can I have another $7 3 sips, please? But this feels like it's lasting a little longer, so I dig it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know better. I usually stop at one of the gift shops and pick up a giant bottle of water and take that in with me.
Yeah. You would do that, but you want something off the cart.
Yeah, we need a little something off the cart. Especially if it's 8 a.m. an early flight. We're like, yes, I'll have a Captain and Coke.
You know
Thank you
what
so much.
airplanes need to start doing?
Tell
They
me.
need to start doing a cart like in Harry Potter movies.
That is literally what they do.
No. No, they don't.
Yes, they do. They're walking around and they're
They don't have good treats in there.
sometimes. Little snacks and
No,
stuff.
they don't.
They could have better snacks.
All right, well, I...
Magical frogs
Oh,
or
shit.
popping
Oh, shit.
bonbons. What?
Dessert.
We need dessert.
Airplane dessert. Think about that.
We'll see.
I just celebrated my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, Aries. How you doing? I didn't realize that Nydia was an Aries until just today, actually.
Yeah.
And I said that I saw a meme that it's getting so hot out because Aries are rising from hell.
That feels right.
So, did you have a nice birthday?
I stayed home and did nothing.
I
on
love
my
that. That's the
birthday.
best kind of birthday.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I just wanted... We had... he ordered me some food, went to pick it up, and brought it back.
Yes,
some sushi
bitch.
and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fine. That's what I wanted.
Yes, that's it. That sounds like my ideal birthday, honestly.
But yesterday was my birthday. Today, I come into work and I work with my boyfriend, and he says, hey, quick, go on this website. So I went on this website, and the website is an age predictor. It's called, I think it's called How Normal Are You?
Okay.
Okay.
You failed that test, didn't you?
This is at 8:30 in the morning. Okay.
And it was how often do you think of cannibalism?
No, it's so it's a face scanner.
Oh,
And
perfect.
Yeah. So the first thing that it does is it scans your beauty. It's I was
That's good.
Listen,
Yeah, that's good.
so I scanned myself and it said that I was a 4.2
Out of
How many?
out of 10.
Out of 77.
Oh, that's harsh.
And I mean, I was like, all right, fair
You're
enough.
it's 8:30. Give me an hour.
I was like, fair enough, right? Then it said it guessed my sex as a man.
I see.
And I was like, fuck.
You're I'm doing great.
And then it guessed my age as a 30-year-old man.
Now you
So I
go.
was like, okay.
Okay, that's a win.
Yeah. And then it said that I was prettier than 0% of the Spice Girls. My boyfriend was prettier than 40% of the Spice Girls.
He is prettier than Ginger Spice. I'll give him that.
I mean, I was just like, okay. So then I realized that the problem was that I didn't have my front, like the camera on.
Oh, okay.
So I went down to his office and I scored a little bit better.
Okay, good.
Not much better.
How many Spice Girls are you prettier than?
I am prettier than 40% of the Spice Girls.
Okay, I think that's valid.
So 2 of the Spice Girls. I highly contest that. Okay. I am much...
Honestly, I feel like that's a valid statement.
I don't think so. The Spice Girls...
I can name 3 Spice Girls prettier than you.
Let me settle down. Let me settle it down for you.
Okay.
Okay, so later on in the afternoon of working, I poked my head out the door because my students were in the bathroom.
Okay.
And another friend, coworker, teacher, passes by and she says, "Here's something to make you feel good today on the day after your birthday." And I was like, "Oh, here we go, bitch. What are you going to do?" She's busting my balls. And she says, "You know that you taught your student, my one student, you know you taught his mom in 6th grade?" And I was like, "Fuck you, you liar." I was like, "You malicious whore, you liar, you take that back." And she said the name and I was like, "You motherfucker."
Oh my God, that's so fucked
I was like,
up.
"Are you fucking kidding me?" She's like, "Yep."
Is that the first time it happened?
She was in our class, yes.
Oh my God.
She was in our class. Yeah, I had to take a deep breath on that one.
That's hard.
I taught my 5th grade student's mother in 6th grade.
That's tough.
That is tough.
That's tough for me to
And
swallow
she
just being in proximity to you.
She wasn't even like a young mom. She was 18 when she had him.
Okay.
So she wasn't like young.
Yeah. She wasn't like 13 or something.
No,
Yeah.
girl.
Ouch, man, that's tough.
Ouch, man.
That feels like a rough week, friend.
Yeah, it does. I was like, all right.
You're like, this has been a great birthday. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Come again next year.
Yeah.
You did get a lot of love on Twitter.
Yeah, people were loving on you on Twitter, on social media.
I guess.
You're famous, friend. People like you.
Do you not know who I am?
You're likable.
All right, whatever.
I mean, I can't get your name right, but you're likable.
Well, yeah, that was it. Also, my father-in-law died.
That's
father-in-law
less
died.
fun.
Yeah.
On your birthday?
No, the day before. The day before my birthday.
Yeah,
but you know, my son, that's my son's pop, you know?
Right.
And he said something. I was like, how are you feeling, David?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And he was like, I'm starting to realize that a lot of times the last time that you did something, you didn't realize it was the last time. And I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I still remember I think about when was the last time that I carried him?
Right.
When was the last time that, you know, that I hugged him? Or, well, no, because I hug him all the time. But, you know, those little things that you do.
Yeah.
You know, the last time that you do these things.
Yeah, like when I saw that meme that was like, one day you put your baby down and you never pick him up again. And I was like, oh my God, when was the last time I picked him? My son's 6'2". You know, he's huge. I can't pick him up now.
No.
So it's like, fuck, when was the last time I picked him up?
Yeah.
And I like genuinely cannot remember because it was just like...
That was the last time?
Probably like a time that I like carried him to bed or something, you know, like when he fell asleep in the car or on the couch or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, God, that's fucking sad.
Yeah, like every day you do things for the last time and you don't even give it a second thought until somebody reminds you that was the last time. So...
Every time when it's the saddest fucking conversation. Oh God.
fucking cried laughing.
Someone died. Cindy's stomach. Oh fuck.
Oh my god. Bro.
Oh my fucking God.
You're fucking comic relief. Your stomach's like, who gives a fuck, bitch?
throat's like, someone died. Who gives a shit? Go fuck yourself.
Oh my god.
I'm squeezing my legs together because I'm gonna have to go to pee.
Oh my god.
All we need is Nydia bourbon.
Oh my god.
Give it 5 minutes. It's coming.
No, but like it's you know, it's fucking serious.
God, it's serious, Cindy. What the fuck?
I'm sitting here just trying to be as quiet as I can be.
Oh my god, your stomach said otherwise.
Your stomach said, fuck you. Fuck you and the birthday you wrote it on. Fuck you and the funeral you have to attend. No one gives a fuck. Oh, god damn it.
Oh, I love that so much for us.
Oh my god.
I love that so much for us.
My body knows when it needs a break for you guys.
Oh my god.
All right, can we fucking move on?
Can we have dessert?
now.
No, let's have dessert. What is it?
They are chocolate chip brownie and pretzels.
Oh yes. It looks like a
Pretzel
bar.
and
Like,
brownie.
yeah, like a
bar.
Like a cookie bar.
Like a cookie bar, chocolate chip cookie bar with pretzels in it.
Oh, I smell that.
Okay. It smells good?
Yum.
What's it smell like? Describe it to the listener since they can't be here.
It smells fudgy. It smells like nuts.
Well,
Now I lost it.
she definitely doesn't have nuts in it.
Oh, I can smell it. It smells like a chocolate chip cookie, straight up.
Yeah.
It smells like a warm chocolate chip. I mean, it's not warm, but it smells like a chocolate.
I smell
Ew,
brown
why are you
sugar.
making that sound?
I smell brown sugar.
Definitely has brown sugar in it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's have it.
Let's talk about it. Stop talking about it. Be about
That's
it.
right. Brownie, pretzely, cookie-ish bar. Something like that, right?
Chocolate, sweet, salty pretzels.
Yes, please.
Together in a combination. Just it's
It's heaven.
it.
No,
No words. No
they
words.
serve that on an airplane? Like, where did you get this from?
I think of, when I go on the plane, I think of cookies or pretzels because that's what we usually get.
Gotcha.
They stopped doing the peanuts because of allergies.
Oh,
So you get cookies or pretzels and
right.
so I figured put them together.
I think that's a genius idea.
Yeah,
I
and
followed that train of thought.
without the visual, that hand slap that
Right.
she just did of
Yes.
them putting them together,
You would never have
I
understood.
would have never.
Right.
No. Thank you for that visual.
Genius.
You're welcome.
Fantastic podcasting.
I feel so
Kudos.
special right now.
You might win an award for
Thank
that.
I feel left out. They're both wearing their fuck all the way off shirts, and I'm wearing.
Yeah, that was a weird coincidence, huh?
I'm wearing a work clothes.
So I was thinking about what you were just talking about and sort of like what you've been talking about recently with your dad passing away and things like this. You know, my son is away at school and he never calls me. I text him every day. We try to like have a phone call on Sundays, but like he's not like your son where he like calls you 100 times a day. Like my son
Right.
literally never texts me or call me about anything. So I've been like sort of trying to get in touch with him and have not been successful. And my dad also has been trying to text my son. And my dad's like, he doesn't text me back. And I'm like, he's not going to text you back. Like, just, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Mm-hmm. But then I like got to thinking about it and I'm like, I should probably call my dad more. You know? So I've been like calling him. So this morning I was like driving to work and I'm like, I'm gonna call my dad, you know? So I called him on the way to work and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I said, are you busy? And he's like, no, I just put a waffle in the toaster. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's such a dad thing to do. I'm imagining him. He's wearing Birkenstocks. He's wearing socks. He's wearing shorts.
He's not wearing Birkenstocks. He's probably wearing like New Balances, like tied. My dad's
Yes.
like a white
Oh,
dad.
definitely. Yeah.
He's like a
All
white man
laced
dad.
up.
Real tight laced up with the socks like 3/4 up. Is
Yeah,
my dad
absolutely.
definitely. Because I was like, are you making breakfast? He's like, I put a waffle in the toaster. Is that making breakfast? I'm like, sounds like breakfast to me. But I like talked to him or whatever. And I said, you know, he's like, what's up? Because usually when I call him, it's like something is broken or I
Right.
need advice or tell me how to do this or
Right.
I want to complain about something.
He's your go-to guy.
Yeah, he definitely is. Yeah, like he's like shows up for me no matter what.
Yeah.
Politics and such, but that's fine. Yeah, whatever. I can look past that. To a point. But he, I was just like calling to say hey or whatever, and he's like, I really appreciate that. have a good day. And I was like, all right.
Dad is the daddiest dad
He's
that ever
such a dad,
dadded.
yeah. He's like such a dad. I was like, I was like trying to think of things to talk to him about because I was
Yeah.
like, nothing's really happening. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like headed to work. It's early in the morning on a Friday. So I was
Yeah.
just like, I just wanted to say hi. And he's like, that really means a lot to me. Thanks so much. I'm like, all right, I'll talk to you later. Love you.
Oh my God. If you're ever looking for conversation starters with your dad, those little like factoids that you get on TikTok are great. Like,
yeah, that's
like
probably true.
in Germany, they just like put a whole ass computer interface into somebody's brain that
Oh my God.
that had ALS.
Yeah.
And they're like it's like literally implanting
Like a chip.
the chip,
Yeah.
not the chip, but it's a computer interface.
Yeah.
Right? So and the ALS patient was like completely paralyzed, couldn't even move his eyeballs. He was at that point. And so then I mentioned that was happening in Germany.
Germany, yeah.
So if you ever want to bring up a talking point, that's like great because that's something that's you can have like a little, hey, did you know that this happened?
That's actually like a talking point that my dad would live for.
There you go.
Like
yeah.
he would live for that kind of shit. 'Cause
Yeah.
he like loves
You got a good-
technology and like that's
You got a good
interesting.
30 minutes of conversation right
Yeah,
there.
definitely, definitely.
Now, you want to, if your dad has ever put out the feelers that he's against government mind control, then
Less so.
Yeah, so you'd be like, oh, maybe not that, but
My dad really likes technology though, so that would be like
Oh,
a thing that
okay.
he would
Yeah.
be. He's like a computer guy. He would.
Yeah.
While he probably doesn't want like microchips put in us, like I think he would be interested in some shit like that.
right, especially if you present it from a viewpoint of, this is helping an ALS person.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
definitely.
So
That's so fascinating though.
Yeah.
Really, really
Yeah,
interesting.
or you could have told him what we shared with our listeners last week about the woman in Thailand that they found. Was it it was Indonesia? That she had a tumbler in her bladder.
Yeah, no,
They removed a tumbler.
I'm gonna call him and tell him that. and
Not
I'll
a
let you know-
shot glass.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him and tell him that. And I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, just if you're looking for a little
something a little more spicy.
something to talk to him about.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
Oh my God, Dad, I heard this crazy story.
Yeah.
I thought I'd share it with you.
Yeah, all right.
I think he would appreciate that because the bottom line is whenever my son calls me, which is he's starting to taper that down.
Okay.
He doesn't call me a million times a day anymore.
Uh-huh.
I would like to have something to talk to him about.
Yeah, a little more interesting.
Yeah, I sent him a meme the other day, and it was this lady. I sent it to you guys too. She was doing. It was like, oh, when I asked my man to do something, and I said, never mind, I'll do it myself. So they show this lady. She's up on a ladder, and the ladder falls, and then slowly thereafter she falls on the ladder.
Yeah,
and
that looks so painful.
it was so fucking hilarious, and I sent it to my son, and he just lived for that. So I guess we've reduced our relationship to passing around memes.
I mean, honestly, I'm here for that. That's a love language in and of itself.
It is.
Definitely.
It is.
Send me a TikTok. When you guys send me TikToks, I don't always respond to them because sometimes I'm like busy or doing whatever.
Yeah.
Like I always watch them and I'm always like, that means they love me. They're like, they think I would think this is funny. So yeah.
Yeah. I live for a TikTok. Like,
Yeah, me too.
I love TikToks. That one that you shared today about the lady who shares real estate homes that murders have happened, and she
Or hauntings or something.
right,
yeah.
and she tells you whether it's worth the money or not.
I was like, dark concept, but pretty cool. Like,
Yeah, fucking love that.
And she calls her daughter Ham Sandwich.
She calls her ham sandwich, but
Ham sandwich.
not sandwich.
Whatever.
No G in sandwich. Do you want to hear a story?
I sure do, especially since you enticed us with that little fucking appetizer in the beginning.
Yeah, good.
Hello, dear listener. We're interrupting your regular podcast with an invitation.
Yep, you're invited to join us at the Tipsy Exchange, where your hosts get tipsy and exchange ideas on a specific topic.
Pop culture, true crime, unexplained phenomena. Nothing's off limits on the Tipsy Exchange.
So grab a drink and visit thetipsyexchange.com to find the show on Apple, Spotify, or whatever is your favorite podcast app. I'm Burley.
I'm LA. Now back to the show.
Today I got my story from Wikipedia, Forbes.com, Reddit, Unsolved Mysteries, Investopedia, Progress is Fine, Blogspot.com, and a book by William Norris called The Man Who Fell from the Sky.
Oh, okay.
Now, I will tell you, This book was very boring. It was a lot of money stuff.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so like there was like 24 chapters. Until chapter 19, I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I had to listen to the book twice because I was like, there's so much like money, rich people shit happening that I was just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
But I did get to a lot of it in the end.
So did you understand it?
Yes and no, because...
Oh my God, are you going to start a Fortune 500 company?
Simply no. Simply no. Because a lot of it was just like rich people doing rich people shit, and maybe one of them killed another. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
So today I'm going to tell you about Alfred Loewenstein. At the time of his disappearance and death, he was the third richest man in the world. For comparability, that would be if Bernard Arnault fell from the sky.
Who the fuck is that?
I don't know who the fuck Bernard Arnault is, but he comes in as the third richest person currently in the world, under Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos at $166 billion.
What does he do for a living?
He owns over 70 corporations, Sephora, and like... just like fucking... basically what these rich people do.
100 basic bitches, ears just propped up.
Yeah, he owns like Tiffany's company, like all kinds of shit. But like he doesn't run them. What they do... I'm going to explain what they do. I'm going to explain what they do.
As you heard, a basic bitch.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a basic bitch.
Yeah, I was going to go into like a whole thing about who Bernard Arnault is. He's like a French guy. It doesn't fucking matter. This is not about our current rich billionaires. This is about one from the turn of the century who literally vanished into thin air, and still to this day, 100 years later, no one knows why.
So this was the 1920s?
Yeah, it was 1928.
Got it.
So not over 100 years, but about 100 years. Yeah. So close. So Alfred Loewenstein was born March 11th, 1877, to a German Jewish banker in Brussels, Belgium. His family had converted from Judaism to Catholicism, and in the book they talked a lot about whether that was for like, I don't know, racism reasons, but like because people really were anti-Semitic or whatever.
Right.
And when you were a financier, it was important to not be Jewish, I guess, in that time, you know, especially in that area in like Western Europe.
Right.
I don't know a ton about his childhood. His dad was really rich, and then he lost a bunch of money before he was born, but Alfred was able to make his own fortune early-ish in life, 20s, 30s. He married a woman named Madeline, and they had a son, Robert, in 1910. It doesn't sound like their marriage was unpleasant, but they don't seem to be head over heels in love with each other. They were like kind of cold, like a marriage of convenience. Like he had an heir. She had all the money she could possibly want. She didn't seem like a mean or bitter like she just was like, yeah, sure, like fine, it's fine.
They're just there.
Yeah, they were like, I'm the third richest man in the world. Do whatever you fuck you want. I don't care. He was like obsessed with horses and horse racing, and she was just like out doing her own thing. And they just, you know, if they came together, maybe they had parties, things like that, but never really like interacted with each other.
Kind of like modern day marriages.
Yeah, and I mean, it worked for them. Like they had the son that they needed to have, and you know, so be it.
And they just had the one.
Just the one son. And considering that they were devout Catholics, that really...
Oh, they should have fucked more.
Right, that led a lot of people to believe that, like, they had just the one kid and that was it and that was all. And it doesn't even really seem like they had mistresses or like, other partners. Like, they just were like, cool, we had the kid, let's go spend all this money. Like, that's it.
Wish I had that option.
Yeah, truly. Loewenstein made an enormous fortune before World War I, but his wealth had increased dramatically after the war was over. His company provided electric power facilities for developing countries worldwide through this Belgium-based company, Sidro. It was like this whole Belgium word that I'm not going to try to pronounce, but the acronyms are Sidro.
Okay.
In 1926, Loewenstein established International Holdings and Investments Limited, which raised huge amounts of capital from wealthy investors. Now, a holding company, that's what I'm going to explain to you. This is how also Bernard Arnault is rich. The same kind of idea.
Okay.
So a holding company is a business entity, usually a corporation or an LLC, that doesn't manufacture anything, doesn't sell products or services, or conduct any other business. What they do is control the companies by holding most of the stock. So they like buy up all the stock in the company, and they basically own the business by buying all the stock. So when the companies do really well, they earn a lot of money. That's how they make their money. And so when you're somebody like Bernard Arnault and you own 77 of the highest producing companies. I think it said he made his first fortune buying like some jewelry company or something in the 80s or some clothing line in the 80s or whatever.
In the 80s?
Yeah, like
in the 1880s?
No, this guy, this Bernard Arnold or whatever.
Yeah,
like this
yeah,
guy. Who cares? So anyway, they control the companies. So that's how he made his money. So this is the story, okay? And I'm going to sort of like tell the story and then tell some theories and like we'll just discuss as we go along, okay? So July 4th, 1928, Arnold and his employees board a private airplane that he owns at Croydon Airport in Surrey, England. He was headed home to his country of Belgium. This is a trip he's made tons of times.
Right.
You know, he just jet sets all over the world. The weather was perfect and the flight was smooth and normal. While the plane was over the English Channel, Loewenstein got up and went inside a tiny bathroom compartment at the back of the cabin. And I sent you guys pictures of the airplane.
Yeah.
So
can I take a look?
Yeah, go for it. We're going to post these on Instagram so you can make your decision. So if you look at the picture, that's like an above aerial picture of the plane. You can see the seats and stuff.
Okay, there's only one bathroom on board, right?
Right.
That one back there.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look at the pictures on Instagram, you can see that Loewenstein is sitting in the seat right behind the cockpit. So he gets up and he goes to the bathroom. At the rear of the plane's cabin, there's a windowless door that leads to a small toilet. In this room, there's an exterior door, and that door is clearly marked exit, and it was equipped with a spring-loaded latch that was controlled from the inside. And that door would have been how they would get in and out of the plane.
Okay. So the door is directly across from the bathroom, from the lavatory. Yeah.
Yeah.
That emergency exit or whatever.
Right. So he would come in through here. That's the bathroom. And then this door would be going out of the plane.
Yeah.
Right. So Loewenstein gets up. He goes to the bathroom and he's never seen alive again. One of the employees...
Wait. Does the plane land?
No. So one of the employees goes to check on Alfred after he doesn't return for more than 10 minutes. Knocks on the door. Doesn't hear anything. Thinks maybe he had like a medical incident. Busts the door open. No Loewenstein in sight. He's gone. He's gone from the plane. When they discovered that the compartment was empty, he notified the pilot, Donald Drew, with a written note because it was so loud, like the sound of the plane. It's 1928 airplane. It's fucking loud, probably.
Right.
It was hard to hear. So he wrote a note saying, like, Loewenstein is missing. So Donald Drew makes a very strange decision and lands on a beach just outside of the city of Dunkirk instead of heading to a nearby airfield, which would have only taken 5 more minutes. He goes and lands on this beach.
On a beach?
Yeah.
How do you make a landing on a beach?
I don't fucking know. I think, like, if you think of, like, Dunkirk, if you think of those, like, World War II movies, like, that was, like, a war beach. Like, it was owned by the French military, so there must have been something there for them to land on, but...
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know those aspects of it. The beach was under control of the French military, so the pilot, crew, and Loewenstein's employees were apprehended pretty quickly by French authorities. Aside from the strange location that they decided to land, which was never explained by the pilot or crew, the 6 people on the plane also initially refused to say who their boss was when they were questioned by authorities. Like, they were like, we don't have the authority to tell you. And authorities, you know, the police or the military police were like, the fuck are you talking about? You just landed on our beach and you're saying someone is missing from your plane.
Right.
We want to know who the fuck it is.
Who the fuck is the person missing if you want us to even look for them?
After about a half an hour, his secretary eventually says what's going on. That Alfred Loewenstein, the 3rd richest man in the world, fell from the plane. We don't know where he went. They simply don't know what happened to their boss. No one heard, saw, or felt a plane door open and a man fall from the sky.
Right. Also, if you were like at that altitude, wouldn't the
They were at about
door...
4,000 feet.
Oh, okay. So they weren't...
This was not like when we're flying at 30,000 feet. This is like in the 20s when planes aren't quite that. But 4,000 feet still pretty fucking high.
Yeah. I mean, but wouldn't the cabin pressure change?
We're going to discuss that, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
So when the family was notified that Alfred went missing, his wife immediately went into mourning. She wanted him declared dead immediately. Without him being declared dead, his estate could be tied up for more than 4 years, leaving her in a very precarious financial situation. Authorities would not declare him dead without his body, but that wouldn't be a problem for too long, because on July 19th, a fishing boat spotted a decomposing corpse with silk underwear, socks, and shoes floating near the French coast, which I do think is odd that he had his socks and shoes on, but no pants. But I digress.
Wait a minute. So he had his socks...
Socks, shoes, and underwear.
Socks,
and a
shoes,
watch.
and underwear. No pants.
No pants,
What
no
about a shirt?
No.
What?
Yeah.
Could it be possible that the speed in which he was falling kind of pulled those clothes off?
Sure. Yeah. And plus he was in the water from the 4th to the 19th. So, yes, anything could be.
I mean, I feel like
But, like, his shoes were still on. His watch was still on, yeah.
Depending on how the shoes were, if they were tied on tightly.
True.
And the socks would stay on because the shoes
were on, yeah.
on. But I could see if the shirt and the pants are loose, they can just kind of be...
Yeah, like I would sort of imagine him to be wearing like a suit of some sort because he's like a business guy in the 20s. So like, you know. But yeah, I just thought it was odd that he had socks and shoes and no pants.
And wouldn't his pants have a belt?
Yeah, maybe even suspenders. I don't know.
Right? That's weird. Unless he took his pants off because he was going to the bathroom and whoever threw him out of the plane took him right out.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe they were around his ankles and they just like slipped off after. Sure. The boat that found him dragged the body behind them on a raft because the smell was so horrid. But authorities were able to identify the body from an inscription on his watch, which was still on his wrist. People on the fishing boat collected 10,000 francs or $320, which today would have been $5,043.09.
Collected it from where?
The wife had put a
Reward.
reward if you find his body or whatever. Or if you find, they were trying to like...
Of only $5,000?
Yeah, right.
Third fucking richest.
Yeah.
Get the
10,000
fuck
francs,
outta here.
yeah.
I'm going to give you $10. That's like our equivalent to $10.
Yeah, if you see my cat, I'll give you $10. That's like literally. She
Right.
was like, fuck you.
Oh, wow.
His wife arranged a private autopsy to determine the cause of death. He died from injuries from hitting the water at more than 4,000 feet. It was determined that he was still alive when he landed in the water.
Ouch.
Oh.
A small amount of alcohol was detected in his blood, which was odd considering Alfred, who was a devout Catholic, never drank. Like, widely known that he did not drink.
Oh, shit.
The strange thing about the case is how the whole incident was handled. Belgium, France, and England chose not to do investigations, which is extremely odd for the third richest man in the world. Were authorities paid off not to look into the case? And if so, by who? Basically, the countries were like, international waters? They just was like, nobody would take on the case.
Okay. Yeah, but you know what? That is a thing, though.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
But if fucking Jeff Bezos died in international waters,
Right.
nobody's gonna look into that shit.
You'd be surprised.
And he was, like, many people lost a lot of money when he died because he was so invested in stocks and things like this. Like, it was a thing that had, like, a ripple effect across the world that he died, Financially, I should say. Financially.
So could it have been that he was drunk and opened the wrong door?
We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that.
All right.
It's unlikely that he was drunk. In my opinion, I don't think he was drunk. But I just think, like, I can't imagine that a devout Catholic that was like very like he went to church like right the day before he died.
But if he had a little bit of alcohol,
if he had a little bit of alcohol and he wasn't normally known to drink, maybe. But we'll talk about opening the plane door during a flight, and we'll see if you think that's possible.
Okay.
An official inquiry in which no one was under oath concluded that Loewenstein's death was an accident. The conclusion was based mostly on the testimonies of Donald Drew, the pilot, and Robert Little, the mechanic on the plane. Both men insisted that the exit door was easy to open and that it was entirely possible that Loewenstein opened it by accident thinking it was the wrong door and fell out, or he opened it on purpose and died by suicide. But all on the plane insisted when they initially were questioned that they never heard the plane door open, they never felt any turbulence or air pressure changes or anything that you would definitely feel at the speeds they were going at the height that they are.
Yeah, and then somebody would have had to close it behind him.
Good point. We're going to talk about that. So let's investigate.
Got it.
He had been known to stare out the window during flights. Recently, he had been stressed and slightly absent-minded, to the point that a few weeks prior to his disappearance, he almost hit his head on a plane propeller that was, like, spinning that would have taken his head off.
What do you mean almost?
Like he was like walking by his plane and the propellers were, and he just like was like absentmindedly like walking by and the propeller like knocked his hat off his head. Like it was that close.
Holy shit.
Which is like very scary,
Yes.
Is it possible that he opened the door by mistake and fell out? Like, is that was he so absent-minded that happened? Besides the fact that the door back into the cabin out of the plane did not look like anything like the door leading outside.
Right.
It's going to be a hell of a lot harder to open a door out of the plane than into the cabin, of course, right? Yeah. So was he suicidal? Did he do it on purpose? Did he use the strength that it would have taken to open the door? It doesn't seem to be the case. He was a devout Catholic, which is a big no-no for Catholics. Right. It would have excluded him for a Catholic burial and to get into heaven. People in the plane said with him that he got up to go to the bathroom. He marked his place in a book, suggesting he was coming back.
Right.
This in of itself seems odd. Loewenstein was not known to ever recreationally read. Like, he read for work and things like that, but just to, like, be sitting and reading a book was not his jam.
Was the book the Bible?
There was never a book found on the plane.
Oh, shit.
Nobody found a book.
Here's my theory.
Okay.
These employees were like, I'm done with this motherfucker. Let's all band together. They can't mess with our story. Let's get our story solid.
Okay.
And let's kill this fucker. He didn't give us a Christmas bonus.
Okay. So I didn't write this down, but I will tell you this was in the story. So the book that I read, the book was written in the 80s. The man had, like, heard about the story and, like, literally did his own investigation. Like, that's the whole book, is this investigation by this guy. And he, like, kind of, like, thinks he cracks the case, right?
Okay.
So there's no, like, real answers or not. There's no police answers, whatever. So he went to the town where Loewenstein lived and, like, had this horse. He liked to ride, like, these fancy racehorses and shit like that, and, like, hunting horses and things. Right. And so he owned this, like, big, beautiful mansion in this town in England or Belgium, one of those. He employed, like, Downton Abbey. Like, he employed everybody in the town.
Got it.
Like, they did his clothes. He had valets. They did the horses. He employed everybody. And one of the women that was still alive in the town in the 80s was a little kid when he lived there.
Okay.
He got every kid in the village Christmas presents every year.
Oh, wow.
He really took care of his employees. Like, he was a dick in the boardroom and shit like that. And he did have enemies financially. But, like, he really took care of, like,
he saw it as his duty.
Yeah, he, like, she said, like, one year they all got, like, doll houses. One year they all, like, I mean, presents, you know?
Yeah.
He really, like, when the wife and him would, like, walk through the stables together, they were like, she was cold, but, like, if you spoke to her, she would speak back to you. Right. And, like, they were just, like, quiet rich people that, like, just did their thing, you know? Right. But he seemed like pretty nice guy, like, genuinely.
Oh,
shit. So that's it would be odd that his employees would try to kill him.
Would all try to band.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah. So what was he doing if he wasn't reading a book? The truth of the matter is that he was working on a bunch of notes that he would later have wanted to have transcribed by his assistant. This information would not be known, though, for 80 years until the author of this book figures it out.
Wait, so I'm intrigued. How does one figure something out?
So what this guy does when he's writing the book is, like, he's trying to find anybody who's still alive that would have known him.
Right, yeah.
He finds the wife of the mechanic from the plane, Robert Little.
Okay.
He finds her wife. She's still alive.
Okay.
And he calls her. And he's like, hey, I'm doing a book on Alfred Loewenstein. I know your husband was on that flight. Would you be interested in talking to me? She's initially like, yeah, I didn't know him. I didn't know my husband when he was on the flight. And when I heard about the Loewenstein thing, we thought everybody on the plane killed him. And he, like freaks out. Whoa, this is when the book really starts to get good. He, like, freaks out because he's like, nobody has said this out. He thinks it, but nobody said it out loud at this point. So he's like, would you mind coming if I came to the house and blah, blah. So he goes to the house to talk. She's like an old lady now, you know? She is like, here's all my husband's things. She pulls out this old box and she's like, here are notes that my husband took from the plane that Loewenstein was working on. She's like, I don't know why he took these notes, but here they are. And they were, like, all out of order and stuff. And he's recording the conversation. And he's like, can I take these notes to go copy them? Right. And initially she's like, no. And then she's like, wait, are you recording this conversation? And he's like, well, yeah, of course, you know, I'm a journalist or whatever. And she's like, yeah, but the things I'm saying makes it sound like I think he's guilty. And he's like, yeah, no shit.
That she thinks her husband's
guilty?
That her husband was dead.
Involved. Yeah, he'd been long dead, yeah. And she's like, you can't say that in the book. And he, like, sort of like, well, now that you know I'm recording, like, what would you want to say? Right. And she's like, I would just say that it seems suspicious. Okay. So she agrees. She lets him take the notes to copy it, but she keeps the tape overnight to make sure that he brings the notes back. Okay. And he was, like, bugging the whole night that she was going to delete it, but she didn't. So, yeah. So he brings the notes back, and then he puts the notes in order. Like, he figures out
Wow.
He like does this whole case like what it should have been handled by the police at that time. Yeah.
Damn.
So
the police dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, or they were paid not to look.
Maybe. All right, go ahead.
But nobody knew about these notes because he took them from the plane that day.
Oh,
Nobody knew about these notes. And these notes would have at least indicated that Loewenstein was not suicidal. Now, people who die by suicide all the time still have plans.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not saying that or taking that away. But what these notes basically said was like, when we land, I need you to do A, B, and C. And this case that we're working on, I need blah, 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 blah. You know, it was like all of these things that were
giving
like
directives.
Very clear directives that like things that needed to be dealt with.
Right.
That's not saying that he didn't eventually, you know what, this is too much work. I'm gonna, whatever. Nobody's saying that.
Right.
But it really would point to his state of mind at the time of his disappearance.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, it could always be spontaneous
Absolutely.
suicide.
This is not hard facts. This is just, I'm giving you the information.
Yeah.
Take it for what it is.
I can't believe he got that fucking lucky.
But that begs to the question. Why? Why would the mechanic take these notes that would point to, you know, his possible state of mind that would at least be like, maybe there was a murder.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a murder.
Well, at least exclude the whole suicide thing because he had
plenty of plans and things to do.
He was planning stuff.
Right. So, if it was a murder, it could only be one of the 6 people that were on the plane.
Oh my God. That's a murder she wrote.
Yes, it's fucking Clue, right?
Oh
like, it can only be the people. He was on the plane, he was fine, he's gone. So it can only be murder, right? Like that, if we agree that he wasn't suicidal, if we agree that it would have been way too hard for him to fall out of the door, and we'll talk more about the door in a minute.
Right.
Let's talk about the 6 people on the plane.
Okay, wait a minute. The butler did it.
He might have. He was on the plane. The valet was on the plane.
Oh, shit. Damn it, I'm always right. Go ahead.
So we have the pilot and the mechanic, right?
Okay.
We have he has 2 stenographers.
This is so fucking cool. I'm like, this is like
you are like
whodunnit.
Yeah.
A who fucking done it. And they're all wearing their costumes. Tell me there was a feather boa.
Yeah, there could have been feather boas. I don't know. I can't make any promises. But he had 2 stenographers, Eileen Clark and Paula Biddalon.
Okay.
He brought them most of these people he brought everywhere. If he wanted something dictated, he just had 2 stenographers at his side.
Oh, wow.
He had his personal assistant, Arthur Hodgson. And
that was the valet?
No, and a personal valet.
Okay.
That was Fred Baxter.
Okay.
All of whom, upon landing on the beach, said that he simply went to the bathroom and he did not return. Nobody was alarmed by his disappearance. They realized he didn't come back for a long time. They went and checked. He was gone. No disturbance in the flight, no sounds, nothing. They all said, all 6 of them. And initially when they questioned them on the beach, the women were crying, the men were sweating. They were visibly upset to the point that the people that initially talked to them were like, it would be crazy if they were acting. That's how upset people were.
Right.
So they definitely were like, he fucking fell from the plane by accident. People were convinced of that initially.
Huh. I'm intrigued. I'm like, this is a fucking whodunit. I am so intrigued.
There's a baggage area.
Okay, yes. So when you look at the photos,
okay,
you go into the plane, you open the door where the bathroom is.
Right.
To the one side is the door to the outside. To the other side is where the toilet. There's a little storage area behind the toilet. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm glad that you picked up on that. That's actually very important.
Yeah.
Look at how smart she is.
Got ideas.
Go ahead, say them. Let's say them.
Could there have been a stowaway specifically to do something to him?
A stowaway like a person?
Like a person.
Interesting thought.
What are the chances of parachuting off the plane?
Okay, so there was someone initially when his body was not found initially, people were like, he faked his own death, blah, blah, blah. There was a fisherman that said they saw someone parachuting in the vicinity, okay? I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to debunk that theory about the parachute, and I'm going to give you a better theory about what it was.
Okay.
But you're onto something. Certainly onto something.
She's not only pretty, folks.
Guess what? It's fucking hard as shit to open up an airplane door while the plane's in flight. Shortly after his death, men began throwing themselves at airplane doors at 4,000 feet to try to figure out if they can open the door. People were like, we want to test this theory. Now, in 2022, we would be testing that theory through science-based testing. In 1928, people were like, if I can get in a plane, I'm going to throw myself at a door and see if I can get it open.
Wait a minute. So if you win that bet, you're dead.
It's not a good thing. But guess what? No one could win that bet because one person could not.
Yeah, because of the plane, the pressure,
Exactly.
and what is that called? The wind blowing
The air, the force of the air.
Yeah, the force of the air blowing past the wing.
Absolutely, yep.
Would hold that door in, right?
Yeah.
It's in the right behind the wing.
The door is
was right
directly behind
yeah.
the wing and the like motor situation happening. Yeah. So some men from the accidents branch of the British Air Ministry even tested this theory. Like they were taking the same kind of plane up. It was like a Fokker or something, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, plane words. At an altitude of about 1,000 feet. They weren't even up to 4,000 feet. One of these like young, fit military men could not get the door open by themselves. Now, Loewenstein wasn't, he's an older guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't in great health. He wasn't in terrible health. He had like high blood pressure. They said he had like rheumatism and stuff. And some people were saying, oh, he needed help getting on and off his horse. But he was still pretty active. But like if these young military men are not able to open the door by themselves, it would be very odd that Alfred Loewenstein could do it by himself. It would certainly exclude that it was an accident. Was he suicidal and did he use like some superhuman strength to get the door open? That would be a different story. But the military men, or all of these people that were trying to do it, they were able to, like one person could maybe get the door open a few inches, but as soon as you like got the door open enough to like try to get yourself out, the door would slam shut because you like had to continuously keep pressure.
Right.
So what they found was if one person pushed the door open enough, then another person could push it a little further and if they wanted to jump out. But if the door got far enough open that a person could jump out, the door would then swing all the way open and break off. Like break off the hinges.
Right.
So even if he was able to get the door open by himself to die by suicide, the door, there would have been damage. The door would have flown open.
Yeah. And
then when they landed, there would have been no door. Or it would have been hanging off or damaged.
Wouldn't it have also like created instability
Absolutely.
inside the plane?
So the people who were testing it, when they were getting the door open, the pilots were saying there would be turbulence. They would lose altitude from, the pressure dropping and things like that. So that means that everyone in that plane is a fucking liar. That means everyone in that plane is a fucking liar. One way or the other. Whether he was thrown from the plane, whether he jumped from the plane, whatever. Somebody is not telling. They're all not telling the truth
because they would have felt some type of pressure change because of the hole that he fell out of.
100%.
I need to rehear what they said about the damage to his body.
The damage to his body was that
Ashton was like, yeah.
He died because he hit the water. Some articles that I read said every bone in his body was broken. So if he was killed on the plane or if he was beaten, some people think that they drugged him and threw him out of the plane, and we'll get to all of that. It was probably very hard to tell damages that would have happened pre or post hitting the water because everything was broken.
Also, what kind of size was this man again?
They said average height.
Okay. Average height, average size. Average height doesn't mean that he's not strong.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
He looked like a regular, I don't think he was, it was 1928. People were probably a little shorter back then than they are now. But, it didn't seem like he was, overly, overweight or real tall or real, it was just he was an older guy, it literally, the book was a middle-aged, average-sized man was how they described him.
5'8".
Yeah, maybe 5'8", 5'9". 6 foot the most. I probably wasn't even 6 foot.
Not in the 1920s.
Right, exactly. That would be pretty big for them.
Yeah.
So hold on to the thought about the door. We're going to talk about the door later because it's very important. So Robert Little, the mechanic, would later tell his wife, who was interviewed by the author, which I explained, that Loewenstein had gotten up and taken his jacket, collar, and tie off while standing at the window and gasping for air. He did not tell this to authorities. Nobody on the plane ever said this. He just said this to his wife. And she said it 80 years later. This was not part of the investigation at all.
So you think he was having a panic attack?
Or was he drugged? And does that account for what little alcohol, quote unquote, was in his system?
Oh.
If Little had seen him take these articles of clothing off before he went to the bathroom, thought would conclude that they would be sitting at his seat, right?
Right.
The jacket was never found. His tie and collar were found beneath the sink in the bathroom. Everything should have been at his seat, but it wasn't. The jacket was never found. So,
really?
And the collar and tie were in the bathroom.
Tucked under the
sink. So, why would he say that he took them off at his seat when they weren't found at his seat? That's confusing.
No, maybe he took it off while he was still sitting and then took it with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like maybe he untied it.
Yeah,
and took
you
it to
can
the
take
bathroom.
something off and then walk away with it in your hand.
Sure.
Sounds to me like he was having like some kind of panic attack or
But
some
also,
kind of reaction.
no one else had said this. Everybody else said he was reading a book, he marked his place, and he went to the bathroom. No book was ever found. He's not a big reader. Is this the truth that he just told his wife? What's going on there?
And maybe that's why he took the notes, because maybe he was just like, somebody wants
He
these
took the notes because their story was that he was reading a book.
Yeah.
That was their story. That was all of their story.
Shit.
So I think that's why he took the notes.
Did the mechanic come into some money after the death? Ooh, ooh, ooh. She just gave me the finger of, but wait, there's more.
So if he was not suicidal, or even if he was, and he could not have stumbled out of the plane without help from someone, that leaves us to one conclusion. Alfred Loewenstein was forced off the plane. If that was the case, by who, why, how? Obviously, we have to look at the 6 people, which I already told you who they all were.
Right.
Given the fact that the 2 most knowledgeable men on the flight were the pilot and the mechanic, and both of those men said that it's super easy to open this door during a flight, and that was proven to be very false over and over and over again. Clearly, they would be the most plausible suspects, right?
And yeah, but they would have had to get up from their seat to do the job.
Yes, this was not a plane that had autopilot
right.
yet.
So
definitely.
I don't see them as the perpetrators.
Okay.
Because they would have had to get up out of their seats.
Okay. The author believes that at least these 2 men, possibly everybody or a combination of them, were hired to kill Alfred Loewenstein.
The pilot and the
At least those 2 men, and
Really?
possibly more people. Yeah.
based on what?
The pilot, Donald Drew, who died of stomach cancer a few years after the incident, seemed to live a lavish lifestyle after this. And everybody lost their jobs, obviously. They sold the plane, the pilots lost their jobs, the stenographers lost their jobs, everybody lost their jobs. But Donald Drew, he lived a lavish lifestyle after the incident, which would indicate that maybe someone paid him a hefty sum to accomplish the job.
Okay.
Robert Little, the mechanic, he was able to open a flight consulting business in England after the incident, as well as owning a second home in Paris, which is kind of a big deal for like
A
plane mechanic in the 1920s.
Okay.
We'll talk about possible suspects of who could have hired them in a minute, but let's talk about how they could have gotten him out of this plane. Okay? So if the 2 men, or a combination of anybody on the plane, threw him off, how did this happen? How did they land on the beach with the plane still intact and a door closed? Like, if the door was open, it should have been ripped off the hinges, right? Or hanging there and damage should have been done. Any person wishing to get out of the door, which opens towards the motor, would have had to push a piece of woodwork roughly 10 square feet in area against a slipstream of 120 miles per hour, assisted by the backwash of 2 150 horsepower motors. It was right there.
Right.
The backwash of these alone is enough to knock a man down while standing on the ground, like solidly on the ground. Just imagine trying to push.
That's a lot of force.
A lot of force. The author believes that in that spot that you're talking about behind the bathroom door, that little area,
The storage where the baggage goes?
yes. And this guy went and found not the original plane because it had been destroyed, but the same exact plane from the same year. There was only 4 of them left. One was in the Smithsonian Institute. It wasn't feasible for him to look at. One was in Australia, and it had won a bunch of races and shit, but it had been so modified that
It wouldn't
have worked. And one was in Denmark, I think, and it was being put back together, restored. So he went to go look at that one.
Damn, this dude had a lot of travel money.
Oh, yeah. He went, and the parts of it were he was glad that the thing in Australia happened because he's I couldn't have afforded to go to Australia. So he goes to see this plane. The author believes that conspirators replaced the entry door with a rigged one that featured loose bolts and hinges. This would make opening it mid-flight, sending Alfred to his death, a fairly simple task. As for the original door, it would have been placed in the small luggage compartment at the back behind the toilet.
Right.
The 2 doors would have been switched upon landing on the beach before authorities would arrive, which would explain why he would land on the beach instead of landing at the airstrip, which was only 5 minutes more.
To buy them some time.
To give them enough time to switch the door.
What did they do with the fake door then?
Do you remember the guy that said he saw a parachute?
Uh-huh.
That could have just been the wooden, the fake door just coming down. Because if it was a person, he would just be dropping.
Right.
But if it was just a piece of like door,
right,
it would fall like what a parachute would look like it was falling.
Fucking A.
Yeah. So that it answers a lot of questions.
Right.
That's why the door is perfectly intact. That's why they landed on the beach. That's why they initially would not say who the fuck it was. You know, like, it bought them a lot of time to, like, get everything together.
But wasn't that his pilot, for
Yeah, they were all
years?
his people.
Yeah.
They were all his people. I mean, he only had this plane for, like, maybe a year.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it was still, like, he had, like, was on a waiting list to get this plane. It was, like, the fanciest fucking plane at the time. Like, so the pilot and the mechanic were new employees to him where...
Wait, what year was the airplane invented then?
I think in the late 1800s. Basically, there were 6 people that had this plane on the planet, and, like, some of them were military. Like, it wasn't... This was not, like... rich people, like now where the people are just like jet setting on planes. Right. It was very rare for like even the richest of people to own a plane. It was like really, really rare. Yeah. And he was
1928.
Yeah.
There was airplanes back then.
Yeah. And people were just like flying in them and shit. Like,
I know.
Just like jumping from planes.
Like fucking trusting that science. I don't trust that science.
No, and you shouldn't, clearly.
I mean, obviously. Go ahead.
So who was behind the plot? Was it his wife, Madeline?
Ooh.
They seemed to have a loveless marriage, that is true, and she wanted him declared dead before his body was ever found, and she did not attend his funeral.
What? Why?
No one knows why. She really had no motive. She could come and go as she pleased. He really didn't give a shit what she was doing. She had all the money in the world. Like, what was her motive to kill him? She didn't go to his funeral because, like, she didn't really like him that much, I guess.
Oh my God.
And the author was, like, pointing out that if she did kill him, it would look worse for her to not go to his funeral. You know what I mean?
True,
like,
yeah.
So it's just really like, oh, well, he died. I didn't really care about him anyway. You know?
Or maybe she was so upset she couldn't attend the funeral.
Maybe she was so upset. I don't think that's true. Maybe.
Definitely not. Yeah. But who was in line to take over?
So.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Could it have been their son, Bobby?
How old was Bobby at the time?
Bobby was 17.
Damn it,
He just
Bobby.
turned 18, or he was just about to turn 18. He seems like an unlikely suspect. He seemed to really love his dad. He didn't really even step into the role for many years. Like, he also was just, like, riding horses and doing his own thing. Like, he's an unlikely suspect.
Yeah, I'm,
certainly.
like, shaking my head no, because I don't see a 17-year-old being that, well...
ambitious enough to,
yeah, I mean, Lydia told a terrible story yesterday where, like, a 19-year-old killed his family. But, like, this was not that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I could see that, but not that intricate.
Right. This is a big plot.
Yeah.
This is a very big fucking
intricate
plot.
I mean,
Absolutely.
he really had to be really sadistic, and as soon as
smart.
it happened, jump into the role, and he didn't do any of that.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, who's next in line?
Okay.
For the company?
That was a fucking whole ass think tank to come up with that fucking...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So people do believe that, like, maybe the family had something to do with it because the 3 countries didn't really look into it. So, like, who paid these fucking countries off to, like, not be involved, right? Like, why wouldn't these countries try to figure this the fuck out? So that's, like, sort of where the theory of the family comes in, but it just doesn't really fit.
Yeah, but things that happen over international waters, like, that's a no man's land.
Yeah, no, that's true.
How involved was he with government?
Actually, quite involved. There were times where the Belgium franc was not worth anything, and he offered, like, $500 million to, like, buy out his country to raise the quality of the franc, and, like, he was, like, involved. That part of it, I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I really did try to listen to that, but I was like, it was so rich people shit that I was just like, I don't fucking get this at all.
When you are rich enough to balance the checkbook of an entire country,
right. Yeah, and
that's a lot.
He was trying to do that for Belgium and France after World War I, because I've told you, like, he was rich before, but after the war he really became rich. Right. So he was trying to, like, stabilize the government. He was, like, doing shit in Brazil and doing shit in Canada and doing shit in America. I mean, countries were, like, coming to him to, like, talk about stabling their finances and shit. He was involved in government. Absolutely.
Wow.
The government did it.
It's possible, and it's literally one of the only people that I don't have as a suspect.
Really?
Is governments, yeah. Bobby Loewenstein would take on his father's valet, Fred Baxter, after his death. Fred Baxter was, like, this loyal ass, He was a young kid from that town that he lived in, and like...
Oh, he was young.
He was younger.
Okay.
He was older than Bobby, but like young compared to Alfred Loewenstein, and like everybody described him as very loyal.
Okay.
So it wasn't really surprising that Bobby Loewenstein took on Fred Baxter as his valet after his father's death. He worked for Bobby for a few years after the death, and they would like hang out and go to bars and party, and like they were like jet setting, and you know, Bobby like spent a lot of money, and they were like young rich kids, you know what I mean? I mean, he was a young rich kid, and that was his valet. One night, after some partying, Fred Baxter was found shot in the head along with an apparent suicide note.
What?
Yeah.
Did they physically test that he actually shot himself in the head, or did it... they shot him in the back of the head and just left the
I don't know
suicide
about the
note?
testing there. I will tell you that after his body was found, Bobby fled the country. Authorities seemed to be paid off not to look into the case at all.
What?
Now, people believe, you know, this is suggested by the author.
They were gay lovers.
No.
God damn it.
That after a night of drinking, Fred May had been feeling a little guilty because he was on the plane, confessed to Bobby what really happened, and Bobby avenged his father's death by killing Fred and faking a suicide and escaping the country. And
But why would Fred confess, regardless of guilt or whatever, to a crime that he could have been arrested for?
I mean, you got to think about it like this. We all saw. Did you see Downton Abbey?
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw Downton Abbey.
But you know how like close the valet was to the father? Like they were like became best friends, you know what I mean? Like they became very, very still employer and employee, but like, you know, maybe in
also if you killed his father.
Right, you killed his father. Or at least you witnessed it.
Right.
You know, or at least you like were a part of covering it up. You know what I mean? So
Shit.
And it was suspicious.
There wasn't any gay shit.
I don't think there was any gay shit.
I think there
no.
was gay shit.
Maybe there was gay shit, but we certainly don't know anything about it.
I think there was gay
I think
shit.
there was gay shit too.
I think
you
there
know
was
I
gay
always
shit.
think there was gay shit.
There's always gay shit.
So what about some other wealthy businessmen? This is to answer Cindy's question. There was a man named Henry Dreyfus, a business rival, a former...
Dreyfus.
Dreyfus, yeah.
That sounds familiar.
It's a big German name, yeah.
Okay.
He's a former associate of Alfred. Their feud escalated when Loewenstein discovered that Dreyfus was behind an expose that circulated in Belgium in the press a few months before his death. And it was like, this went on for chapters and chapters and chapters in the book of like this feud that the two of them had. And in the end, the author was like, but I don't think it was Dreyfus. Like, it was just like,
Okay.
Dreyfus was facing a libel suit. Did he murder him to avoid appearing in court for the suit of the rumors? He's a good suspect just because they fucking hated each other. But most of their fighting was like done in the media, done in the press, like done, you know. He didn't
in the open.
Yeah, he didn't stand to gain or lose any money from him. I mean, they gained and lose money from each other regularly. Like,
Right.
It would be odd that he would make this whole big plot to kill him.
But I mean, that involved a lot of people.
Definitely. At least 6 of them on the plane that
Right.
never
And
said a fucking word.
That were close to him that could have given up the goods, you know,
Yeah.
said, hey boss, somebody's trying to freaking kill you.
Yeah.
But also Fred didn't gain anything from it financially, did he?
No, but that's what makes me sort of like, this is how I picture it went down.
Okay.
And I'll keep going on suspects in a second, but this is how I sort of picture it. They're in the plane, right?
Uh-huh.
They drug Loewenstein.
Yes.
They drag him into the bathroom.
Yes.
People on the plane are like, what the fuck? This is our boss. We love him. What are you
Yes.
doing? And then, I don't know who it is, either fucking the mechanic or the, you know, maybe it's the valet. I don't know. It could be any of them.
Anybody.
They turn to the people and they're like, we have dirt on all of you.
Right.
I know that you cheated on your husband. Some
Right.
Saw type
Yes.
bullshit.
Yes.
I know you cheated on your husband. I know you lied on your thing. And all of these things so that, like, they didn't...
Who are they going to believe?
Who are they... Yeah, or, like, I could ruin your life.
Yeah.
So we're going to kill him. We're going to take this money. And you're going to fucking shut the fuck up. Or we're going to expose you for these, like, secret... Like a game of Clue. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's sort of how I think that they got all 6 people under. This is from no evidence or anything.
Nothing,
That,
yeah,
no,
just-
this is just my, like... things that I was thinking
Here's
about when
my
I was
theory.
sleeping last night.
Here's my theory. There was some gay shit. I think that Bobby and Fred were having an affair, and the
really hung
dad.
up on this.
Shut up! Shut up! Let me fantasize. And the dad fucking was against it and confronted him in the bathroom. Because didn't he go to the bathroom to like go check on him?
Yes, it was
And he
Freddie.
banged the door, and like that was the loud noise of him pushing him out the door.
Could be.
And because he drugged him, and
Because
he
he was
waited
in
a
love
few
with Bobby?
minutes because he was in love with Bobby. And he's like, we're gonna be together anyway. And he's like, get out of this, plain old man. And then he like went to his Bobby.
But how do you fix the door situation?
He fucking fixed it. He's
Preemptively, he put the door on the thing before the plane
when
started.
they landed. He fucking lickety-split fixed it. He was like, let me go check in the back real quick for him again. Let me just go.
And everybody was like, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I like
And then
that.
he was like, with the power tools. Oh,
Power
wait, they didn't have
tools,
power tools.
yeah. Right, power tools.
So
they were from the charging
yeah.
station in the back of the plane.
Yeah.
No, I think you're
No.
right. You nailed it.
No.
Stop it.
But all of them were involved.
Yeah.
They were definitely either paid off or definitely threatened at some point.
Yeah.
Definitely fear for their lives.
yeah.
And
Or they
paid
had
off.
something held over their heads, maybe. Like, that's what I
mean,
yeah.
feared for their lives
Yeah.
in whatever way, fashion.
Whatever way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost like whoever was part of it, they like turn around on the flight and they have like files on each of them, like, you did this, and you did that. You're
Really? You're seeing files. I'm seeing
Yeah.
like, we know where you live. We will kill your entire
Sure,
family.
yeah, could be that too. Yeah.
3 generations in.
Yeah, could be that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other Richie Rich dudes that it could be were Albert Pam and Frederick Savarsier. These two men were Alfred's partners in International Holdings, the LLC, whatever that he has. On the surface, these are my words, obviously. On the surface, it doesn't seem like they could have benefited from Loewenstein's death. But a closer look into the paper trail reveals a different story.
Okay.
International Holdings stock soared in the weeks following the incident thanks to a mysterious $13 million profit that appeared out of nowhere. The author of the book that I read did some digging, and he discovered that sum eerily matched a number of an anonymous insurance policy that was taken out on Loewenstein's life just weeks before he died.
Wait, what?
The even stranger question...
Who took out the policy, fucker?
We don't know. Like, the money just, like, shows up. Like, there's a policy, the paper trail, like, sort of doesn't, but the company gets that money. So, like, and it's not uncommon, right? Like, if we made a fortune on this podcast.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It would behoove each other to have some insurance. I could get murdered in the woods chasing lesbians.
You will get murdered.
You could get murdered by your students. I don't know you could die in a fiery kitchen accident. Like, it would behoove us to, like, have insurance on each other, you know? If we were rich and made a lot of money, you know?
Right.
Fortunately
My
for you
side
guys, that's not what's happening here.
Oh my God.
We are bleeding money on this podcast. But the question would be, if this company wanted him dead, and that to me looks like a good plot. These are rich people that could pay to have this done. They're business people. They're smarty pants people. They could make it happen. Why the fuck wouldn't they, like, poison him at a dinner? Or, like, make him get hit over the head in a robbery on the street? Like, why would it be this huge elaborate plot that for 100 years people are still trying to figure out what the fuck happened?
Because the intent was for his body to never be found.
Maybe. And the insurance policy that the author finds, it not only covers accidental death and whatever, but it also covers suicide, which was very odd for the time. Like, whoever made this policy was very, very, like, it cost a lot of money.
Wow.
Also, it's odd now.
Yeah, it's odd now, yeah, but it was certainly odd back then. While the author of the book, William Norris, did the detective work that should have been done almost a century before, alas, these questions will never actually be answered. And that is the mysterious death of the man who fell from the sky.
Wow. I'm surprised the sharks didn't eat him.
Are there sharks in the English Channel? I don't know.
Oh, it was the English Channel.
I mean, it wasn't over the Caribbean. It was like, you know, it was over, he was flying from England to Belgium, so it was like over the English Channel. I don't know what the water's like there, but probably fairly mild, I think.
I've traveled
Maybe a
on
little
the
cold.
English Channel, and it's
just
not
water, right?
warm.
Yeah,
It's just water.
Yeah, it's just water.
Oh.
It's like Viking land and shit, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like where no spices are, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The land of no spices.
The land that fought for spices and never uses them.
Exactly. 100%.
Sorry,
England.
Sorry, England.
Wow.
What do you think?
Bro, I think there was gay shit.
I mean, obviously there's gay
Yeah.
shit. Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When is there not gay shit? There's always gay shit.
Especially
On the English channel. It's pretty fucking gay over there.
Wow.
I mean, I think that his business partners bought the insurance policy and they killed him. And they had him killed by the people on the plane. And I think that because that's what the book told me to think.
But I would want to know how the stenographers fared and how, you know what I'm saying?
So when he was looking for everybody that was involved, as many people as he could find, the 2 stenographers and his personal assistant, they just sort of, there's no record of where they go. It was obviously the women could have been married and their names would have changed and it would have been difficult to find them. But like where we know what happened to Donald Drew, the pilot, and where we know what happened to Robert Little, the mechanic, and we know that Fred Baxter was killed, we know that solidly. We just don't know what happened to the other 3 people on the plane.
How about if Fred was killed because he knew too much?
Yeah, maybe he wanted to come forward.
And Bobby knew what was the secession. You know what I mean? Like maybe they knew, maybe they made Bobby privy to it and said, hey, this is going to go down. But in 2 years, when you're finally ready and prepared to take over this company, it's going to be yours.
Could be.
You know?
I think he died tragically young as well in World War II. Like something happened with him in World War II, yeah.
But the reason why Fred got a bullet to the head, what did the suicide note say?
It was like, I'm so sorry about my life, and like all of these things that like just didn't really like line up with the life he was living. Like he was kind of living a pretty cool life, you know, he was just like out like jet setting with this rich young kid.
Right.
It seemed not in a line with what his actual life was like. So it was unusual, but like suicide notes can be not logical.
Okay,
you know?
here's the breakdown. Mm-hmm. Bobby and Fred were in love.
Yes, you mentioned that.
And it's an impossible love in the 1920s. Mm-hmm. And
forbidden even.
Right. What was now in the 1930s. And so he either 86'd himself.
Fred?
Out of depression, but he didn't want to admit that it was because of that. Because that's where he's disappointed with his life, how his life turned out.
True.
Or Bobby, or he said, if you leave me, I'm going to expose you. You know?
So Bobby killed him.
And then
I mean, I love your gay stuff theory. I live for it. You know how I feel about that. But I just kind of like am really like Bobby is avenging his dad's death. Like I just sort of like I feel that on a deep.
I feel that as well.
Okay, but why would he flee? Why wouldn't he say?
Well, because he did just kill someone. You know,
somebody.
Yeah, but why didn't he?
Turn him
say?
In, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why wouldn't he just be
I don't know, if you found out someone like killed your dad and you like had the ability to like make it right, and not suffer any consequences because you're the 3rd richest kid in the world, like.
Yeah, but he went through the trouble of writing a suicide note and all that.
Yeah. Also, he doesn't know the consequences of exposing.
That is true.
The whole.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
So just killing him would have just been easier. He's like, I'll go after the other 3 now, and that way nobody knows what happens to them.
If he confessed to him and was like, these super fucking rich people paid us off or blackmailed us, maybe Bobby was like, I can't take that on, so I'm just going to kill you. Like, I'm going to kill you. Obviously, you were part of my dad's death.
Right.
But, like, I can't turn you in because these rich people are going to get away with it anyway, you know? Mm-hmm. And also the stock market crash the very next year where like everybody went into the Great Depression, most of them lost all of their money anyway. Like it was the Loewensteins would have lost almost everything if he was still alive.
If he was still alive.
If he would have been still alive.
More dead.
Well, he was for the family because they weren't like dabbling in stocks and shit anymore after he was dead.
Yeah.
So they were able to like, you know, actually like there's no record of like how Madeline died, like his wife.
Right.
She's just like, she doesn't exist anymore because he's dead. Like, you know, women in history.
Yeah, I mean,
who gives a fuck, right?
Right. Who gives a fuck about women today?
Yeah, right. We definitely didn't give a fuck about them in 1928.
No. Wow.
When I was listening to this book and it was so fucking boring, I was like, this does not bode well for my story. But I'm glad. I feel
This
like
is a fun story. It felt very dinner theater.
Good.
I like that.
Because when I heard this, I was like, I got to tell Nydia and Cindy about this story.
Yeah.
That's how I generally try to pick my stories. I'm like, I got to tell them about this story.
Yeah, I like that. So listen, if you found this story interesting like we did, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any more.
Yeah, wouldn't want that.
Yeah. If you liked how we do what we do, the thing that we do, write a review and share with someone. Right? We've had some reviews. I think my hexing people is starting to work.
I think you should keep hexing them.
Yeah. Here's an example of a review that you could write. This is a 5-star review, and it goes like this. Jolene Moreno writes, "These are my favorite ladies. I look forward to this podcast every week. They have the perfect balance of serious and comedy." Is this what that's called? Comedy?
Yeah, we're funny.
I thought we were being stupid by mistake. These are the types of ladies I would get lit and watch some true crime documentaries with. Keep making that bomb content, ladies. Juju Walker. Well, I like that.
I love it.
Thank you very much, Juju. Also, get lit and watch
Let's
crime.
do it, yeah.
Whew. Anyway, do we have another one?
No, but we just found out that we could get texted through our Google Voice.
Did we? Oh, okay.
Because that's where we got the Google Voice text message.
If you don't want to call us, feel free to shoot us a text.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that. Hey, crimey, diny kids. It's Jim from Film Rage. First time I have read your show notes and saw your number for a call. Thought I'd send a text to say I love your show and the food is always exciting. Stay awesome. And then there's like a series of emojis. There's a film camera, a cursey face, a purple heart, and what is that? The rock on sign.
Yes.
That's adorable.
That's Jim from Film Ragers podcast.
Oh, that's the emojis make sense then.
Our Canadian friends.
Oh, gotcha.
More Canadian friends because we have
Canada.
quite a few.
From Canada. So shoot us a text. We love text messages.
We'd love to hear from you. And so that brings me to the next thing. If you want to treat yourself, you can binge on our 100 plus episodes that we have in the catalog when we were Wine, Dine, and Storytime. And if this is still not enough for you, we have more content on Patreon, on our Patreon page, and in our social media. We are on all of the social medias. You can connect on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and the other things, the Twitters. All right, check you out next week. And remember, do not get taken to that second location. Be good or be good at hiding the body. Cheers.
Are you okay? Jesus Christ. You're so fucking loud. You're disgusting and I hate you both. Oh god. I'm crying. Oh my god. And holding my pee because I almost fucking peed myself.